There are more answers than you know.
I'd like to take a moment to thank all of the channel members. I appreciate you guys so much. If you'd like to become a channel member, the link is below. And to everyone in the live chat tonight or watching the replay, thank you so much for your support.
Each had multiple stab wounds. Some had defensive wounds, showing they fought with the attacker. And there was no sexual assault. County Coroner Kathy Mabbutt is describing the murders as personal.
All right, everybody. Oops, let me get this to a different view here. And hello, and welcome to What's the Obsession live stream and chat. And tonight we are going to be talking about the Idaho case or the Bryan Kohberger case, asking the question of you guys, do you think that Bryan Kohberger is innocent or guilty? For those of you that have been following this case, you might know that across the true crime community and internet chat rooms all over the place, there is a massive debate going on regarding whether Bryan Kohberger is innocent or guilty. Now, some people feel that he is likely guilty based on the evidence that we do know about from the probable cause affidavit or any reliable leaks that are out there. And other people are standing firm that the man is innocent. And I'm going to be honest, it's hard for me to see that perspective, but I'm listening to you. My ears are open and my mind is always open. I just follow the facts. And at this point, I have an opinion about things, but what I really want to know is what's your opinion? And then there's others of you that say, I just don't know if he's guilty or innocent yet. We need more facts. So if you are here in the live chat, please vote on that poll if you think Bryan Kohberger is guilty. And if you're watching the replay, please leave a comment below and let us know what you think, because we all want to know what you think. So welcome to everybody once again. And let me just click over the right settings here. And thank you for being a channel member. If you are, I hope you saw in the beginning, I did a little intro thanking all of the channel members, and I appreciate you so much. Utter, thanks for being here. Midge Elkins, I'm just trying to find my moderators. Jeannie, thanks for being here. It's great to see you. I just got your text too about next Friday. Next Friday, we will have Kathleen Houston on live. She's one of our, no, she is our favorite, what was I thinking, true crime author. And is it okay to say what she's doing a book on, Jeannie? I think it is, right? She has an upcoming book on the Corey Richins trial and case. And she's just amazing and always gets tons of great insider information. So definitely look forward to that, both the live stream next Friday and the upcoming book. Let me know, Jeannie, if we have an estimated or anticipated publication date. Hey, Edward, welcome. Thanks for being here, moderator. And I don't want to miss any of you guys. And if I do, I'm sorry. It's just that I didn't see it just yet. And everybody who's here, thank you so much for being here. I just want to, DC Primetime, appreciate our awesome channel moderators for a moment here. Let me take a quick scroll up, up. Wow, lots of great people here. Thanks for being here, guys. All right. So today we're going to talk about, some issues, some of like the hot topic issues that have been out there that have been in the minds of some people, rumors, in the minds of other people, they have been validated. But we're also going to take a close look at the PCA, because one thing that I've noticed as I've been observing this debate across the true crime community is that people as a whole, and I'm not pointing fingers in any direction, I'm just saying I've noticed this as a whole, are starting to, for sure, misquote, and I don't know if I should say misinterpret the PCA, because if there's a matter of interpretation, I mean, who's to say if mine is right and yours is wrong or vice versa, you know what I mean? But there are some answers in the PCA for sure, and there are a lot of clues in the PCA for sure. So we're going to take a look at that. Now, one of the issues that I know has been widely talked about is the value of the cell phone data that we have as a community, people against Bryan Kohberger, I have a video that's in production right now. I'm hoping to get it out really soon. I've done some seriously deep research on the FBI CAS process and technology that allows the agents to pinpoint a cell phone literally down to like 2 or 3 feet. It's really quite amazing. I've talked a lot about cell phone technology because I used to work in site acquisition and telecom, and it's something I had to learn a lot about to be in my job. It's really like kind of nerdy, but super interesting stuff in my opinion. And you may have heard me talk about the AGPS technology. This CAS technology goes even above and beyond the AGPS technology as far as being able to use a number of information sources to pinpoint a cell phone's exact location. It's really quite incredible. So since we know that the CAS technology is hard at work in this case, you can bet your bottom dollar that they're going to have some really precise information about Bryan Kohberger's cell phone. I also haven't asked, can I just do an audio check? Is the audio okay? I'm doing something a little different this evening. Just want to make sure you guys can all hear me okay. Oops, let me scroll up here. Let's see. Oh, awesome. DC Primetime said, I think this was a while ago. Oops, I can't pin you from there. I have some thoughts, so I'd love to hear your thoughts, DC, for sure. Hey, the goddess, Shams, don't care. How are you doing? Welcome. I just haven't seen you. Hey, Joanne Fox, how's it going? Hey, from England. Nice. From England, I love this channel. Thank you very much. And thank you for taking your time to do it. And yes, he's guilty is what I believe. Awesome. Thank you. Make sure that you go in the poll there. Hey, K-Braze, what's up? Hey, Truth and Transparency. I know this is not the real Truth and Transparency, but I love this Truth and Transparency, by the way. You're awesome. Welcome. Let's see. Hey, Muffy Dragon Slayer, how's it going? Hey, Mike, how are you doing? Everybody a mod but me. Mike, I would be honored to have you be a moderator. Would you like to be a moderator? I think that would be freaking terrific. I trust you. Mike is a trustworthy guy, and he comes up with really good one-liners too. I'm gonna make Mike a mod. Don't want any bad feelings here. All right. Standard moderator. I only have one managing moderator, and that's Jeannie. And I don't think she uses her managing moderator. Oh, and Nancy N. She's our lifetime managing moderator. But if anyone has interest, if you're moderating and taking more of a part in, kind of the runnings of the channel, just let me know, because there's definitely opportunities for that. All right. Oh, awesome, Joanne. Thank you. That's great. Hey, Cindy Everett, how are you doing? Oh. No, Cindy, you are important. Don't even say that. All right. So one of the, let's see, okay, so I put out a video, and thank you also to Jennifer Kofendaffer, who is a former FBI agent, for reposting through Twitter the video that I put out the other day about the deleted interview where Steve Goncalves spoke about a number of issues. And now in the preface to the video, I said, I don't know if this video is completely scrubbed from the internet. I do know that there are 2 videos that people have been talking about, and Agape Love. I saw your comment earlier, and I know you're talking about a different one, and I am on the hunt for it. If you can give me any more information about it, I would love that. What Agape Love has told me is she believes that it is the first interview where we met the Goncalves family, and it was Steve, Christy, and Olivia were all on, was it News Nation, I think she said, together. And so it was a long time ago. It would have to be like in the early mid part of November. And apparently people are saying it's one of the lost or deleted interviews, and I'm looking for it. So any detail I could get would be super helpful. Now, in the video that I posted the other day, I'm just going to play to start the conversation we're going to have the little snippet of what Steve Goncalves said that is just kind of interesting, right? And we'll talk about what you think it means. There have been a lot of comments to that video, and I know people have strong opinions and agree or disagree with one another. It's all good. Everyone, please just be respectful in chat, and always, life is hard enough, and we don't need to make it harder for each other, right? Life is hard, isn't it? All right. Let's see. So the interview starts at, let me just try to hit the spot here. I'm not sure exactly where it is. I'm sorry, I didn't catch the timestamp prior. So I might be playing a couple minutes prior to when he mentions the Wi-Fi, but it's all good information anyway. So, all right, let me just bring that into the stream.
How are you going to explain that? It's got your DNA on it. So I think the reality of that, and
let me go back just a minute, because she asked him about the evidence
right next to a body. Yeah, have fun with that. How are you going to explain that? It's got your DNA on it. So I think the reality of that, and a lot of digital forensics, cell phone records the FBI has put together is extremely impressive. So I think they're going to I think he's starting to realize that he's never going to see freedom ever again.
What would you say to him? And I heard you, I think it was on the News Nation interview yesterday with Christy, say, we will forgive him. I mean, that's a surprising thing, I think, for a lot of parents to hear. I mean, tell me a little bit about that forgiveness.
I think as a family, you have a big family, you got to learn to forgive. And, kids make mistakes, and you learn as a parent, that's part of the process. But we've all known in our family, there's nothing more hard to get over. It is when you decide to take somebody's life, you've taken their opportunity to ask for forgiveness from other people, and that's the end. I said it, you play God that day when you do that. And when you go and do something like that, the responsibility is you're going to have to take that person's place if you've done it in a fashion that isn't unfair and unjust. And I think that's what the court will be determining, was this unfair and unjust. And once that's determined, then that's what the law is there for.
I just want to interrupt this interview really quickly to just address something in chat. So oh, nice, Matt, welcome. How are you doing? So he says, why would you allow a fake creator name in chat? Well, you can pick whatever name you want, right? So I just said that I am acknowledging that the truth and transparency in chat is not the channel that some people might watch. So I think that's good enough. And this person is more than welcome in our chat. But thank you for being concerned, really.
So, yeah, but we will forgive. We're not going to walk around with darkness in our heart for the rest of our lives and, have his name written there like a tattoo on our consciousness. So yeah, you have to forget. At least I feel you have to forgive. Otherwise, it's just a cancer inside you, and I'm not willing to live with that inside me.
I know everybody's been asking you this question, but do you know of any connections between Kaylee and any of the victims and this individual?
To me, it's like 9-10 miles. I'd be shocked if these guys didn't cross each other in grocery stores and just everyday life. So I'm not going to be that surprised that there's going to be some type of thing that comes up in I've said it, whether it's grocery store or coffee or something. I mean, if he was over there for a year, I'm assuming that he followed them and he may have figured out what their patterns are. And then, he tries to bump into them, or he tries to hang out in those spots and, coordinate, trying to cross in. But I don't know how important they really are at this point. I just know that it happened, and we may figure it out as the case develops.
And I just look at that from, I think anybody in America is like, that's the next question, right? Is why them? Like, why would he target these people who he had no ties to? And it just feels like such rage to do that to somebody, to 4 people.
Yeah. And that kind of just tells you who he was, because, he wasn't tied to everyone in that room. Ethan wasn't supposed to even be there. And, from what Ethan went through, that this guy just wasn't a man of character. He was just poorly built. And, there isn't going to be some kind of connection that I would think that would explain this.
You don't think there's going to be some kind of connection that will explain this?
No, what kind would? I mean, like, behavior could explain somebody being this brutal to another human being. I mean, he was probably obsessed with just their overall looks and their social media accounts and the fact that they were close,
Makes you sick. And it's sickening, I'm sure, to see the information that came out in the affidavit about how he had been by the house multiple times prior to the murders as well. I don't know if you guys knew that early on.
Yeah, and close enough that he was touching their Wi-Fi, that his phone was touching their Wi-Fi.
Okay, so this is the part that, some of you may have heard him say this before. Now, when I made this video, I prefaced it by saying that there have definitely been grabs that have been included in other, remixes from, like, I don't know, Inside Edition has done a lot. And just Larry, I don't know if you saw this video, but a lot of what you said, or not a lot of what you said, but some good things you said from the live stream I put in this video, because it was really great. And hi, Just Larry. I had the pleasure of having Just Larry. We all had the pleasure of having Just Larry come up on the panel on the live stream last time, and that was awesome. You're just great. We miss you. So happy you're here again. So again, this is what he says. And damn, I wish she followed up when he said this. I'm like, no, ask follow-up questions, girl. Oh, it makes me crazy.
Character, he was just poorly built, and there isn't going to be some kind of connection that I would think that would explain this.
You don't think there's going to be some kind of connection that will explain this?
No, what kind would? I mean, like, behavior could explain somebody being this brutal to another human being. I mean, he was probably obsessed with just their overall looks and their social media accounts and the fact that they were close,
Makes you sick. It's sickening, I'm sure, to see the information that came.
Sorry about that. Hold it. Sorry about that, guys. I'm on not my preferred computer. I forgot to switch computers. So sorry about that. Let me bring that back. There we go. All right.
How he had been by the house multiple times prior to the murders as well. I don't know if you guys knew that early on.
Yeah, and close enough that he was touching their Wi-Fi, that his phone was touching their Wi-Fi. Yeah, so you know how close that is. If you've had a laptop, you walk out in your front yard, you're not going to get too far. So.
Okay, so now that was the statement. I want to know what you guys think about that. Now, something I neglected to mention in the video that I did the other day was that Steve Goncalves' career is in something in the sector of internet technology. I don't remember what his exact title was. I researched this a long time ago. If anybody knows, please go ahead and let us know here in chat. So, some people made comments on the video saying, oh, or I've heard this said all along, that maybe he was confused in what he said, that what he said right there, Kohberger's Wi-Fi touched the Wi-Fi of the residents. That's not really what he meant. But knowing that his career is in internet technology, that makes me believe that it is unlikely that he got things confused. You know what I'm saying? So, and Just Larry, I think that this is very possible. Just Larry says, this is why I still think Maddie and Xana were targets. They worked together and Ethan and Kaylee were not supposed to be there. Well, I think that's actually a really good point. And since you mentioned that, I just want to bring up a little something or other that I worked on at some point in the history of of What's the Obsession videos about the Idaho case. Let me just find it really quick. Yeah, so put that in your opinion in chat. What do you think about Steve Goncalves' statement that he was close enough to touch the Wi-Fi? So just for some context, and, kind of researching the range of Wi-Fi router, I found different answers from different sources, but those answers did not range from one another very greatly, because it is what it is. Depending on the strength of the router and whether it is the latest technology or not, the answer is going to vary a little bit. But the average answer was about 300 feet indoors. Is that right? Not yards, feet. That's right. And 1,000 feet if you're venturing into the outdoors. So obviously that is, yes, very close. All right, here we go. Oops, is that the one? Yes. Okay. Let's see. Yes, this is the one. Okay. Let me just pause, bring this into the stream. And welcome everyone who's just coming into the live stream. Really awesome to have you here. Everyone get comfortable, say whatever you'd like. We allow that on this channel as long as you're respectful to people here and to the victims and their families, please.
For tragedy and murders, place an even stricter gag order on all of the people that have to follow the gag order, anyone who is an officer of the court. So that's going to be the attorneys on the case, the tangential attorneys on the case, and a number of people that are under the rule of the court. They can't speak boo about anything having to do with this case. Is the reason why the reporting of People Magazine's Steve Helling, who has covered a number of topics on the University of Idaho tragedy. Steve Helling learned that on at least 2 occasions, Bryan Kohberger ordered vegan pizza from the Mad Greek restaurant, the same restaurant where Xana Kernodle, age 20, and Madison Mogen, age 21, were servers while they were attending school at University of Idaho. As you can see from the pictures here, the Mad Greek restaurant was not a large restaurant. It's a rather small and intimate dining location. So the question is, what interaction did Bryan Kohberger have with Xana Kernodle and Maddie Mogen? Here's the article from People Magazine by Steve Helling. Thank you, Steve Helling, for all the coverage you've done in this case. The headline says, Idaho suspect Bryan Kohberger visited restaurant where 2 victims worked at least twice before killings. According to a former employee at the Mad Greek restaurant in Moscow, Idaho, Bryan Kohberger came in at least twice to grab vegan pizza. And the article is, of course, by Steve Helling. In the weeks before the slayings of the 4 University of Idaho students last November, the man now accused of killing them allegedly ate at the restaurant where 2 of the victims worked. According to a former employee at the Mad Greek restaurant in Moscow, Idaho, Bryan Kohberger came in at least twice to grab vegan pizza. 2 of the victims, Madison Mogen and Xana Kernodle, were servers at the restaurant. It's unclear if either woman ever waited on Kohberger or if they interacted, but People confirms that a now deleted account that appeared to belong to Kohberger once followed both Mogen and Kernodle on Instagram, along with a 3rd female victim, Kelly Goncalves. People has also confirmed via an investigator familiar with the case that law enforcement is aware of the restaurant visits and that investigators have interviewed employees and the owners of the Mad Greek. They've also collected surveillance video from the restaurant and surrounding businesses. The former employee tells people that there was nothing suspicious about Kohberger's visits to the Mad Greek and that he only stood out because he had a particular order. A strict vegan, Kohberger would check to make sure that his food had not come into contact with animal products. Now, from the many reports that we've heard from people that knew Kohberger, he was a strict vegan, and a report from his aunt told the world that one of the weird things about Bryan Kohberger was that he would not eat food that was even cooked in pans that had touched meat. So when he was at her house, the request was, that they had pans that meat was never cooked on, and they had to buy all new pans. One of the many strange things about Kohberger. Other people that knew Kohberger, that worked with him, that were friends with him along the way, also said that he was a strict vegan for at least a period of time. So this makes a connection between Kohberger and at least two of the roommates. Many have speculated about the various social media accounts, the Facebook posts that some people think was Kohberger that revealed a lot about what happened in detail the night of the tragedy, the Papa Rogers account, the Reddit account. There have been so many different social media accounts that have caused people to wonder, is this Bryan Kohberger? It sounds an awful lot like him. He seems to be defending the person who committed these egregious crimes. And, well, this People magazine article by Steve Helling gives those speculations a great deal of credibility.
Okay, so that's enough of that. So that's just what I had about a little extra detail about the Mad Greek restaurant. Now, some people were trying to refute that information. I was able to independently verify it myself. That's why I ended up putting out the video, or else I probably wouldn't have put it out because it would have just added to speculation. So I believe 100% that to be true. Now, hey, just Larry, also about that smoke from the Canadian fires. Holy God, I know I talked about that one live stream. I had like such a bad headache for like 4 days. And like our students where I work couldn't go outside. It was really crazy. It was so bad, right? And Dave G, if you were affected up there where you're from, and hi there, I hope that you're doing okay. So something I wanted to just touch on here was DC Primetime saying, bringing up my favorite topic, I know, says, I think the requests for the phone records are limited by dates. Now that is true, but what is really interesting about the cast, I don't know if I should call it the cast technology or the cast method. The FBI cast team is essentially a group of people who have created strong liaisons with the cell phone companies, the various cell phone companies, because each cellular carrier has its own rules as to how long it's going to hold on to information and to how hard they're going to make it for law enforcement or anyone to get that information, even upon warrant, when requested. But this cast way of doing things, because again, I'm not sure what to call it because it uses technology, but it also uses methodology and relationships, bypasses all of the normal limitations that we are bound by when we are looking for information related to crimes, cell phone records, and they are able to get access to a greater range of dates with less hassle. And that's one of the things that makes the information more valid. So one thing that they're able to do that, it seems like nobody else other than this cast team of the FBI is able to do is to get this broader range of dates and broader selection of information from a particular user and also from a particular cell site. So what that allows them to do is something that we do all the time in behavioral analyzing behavior, I'll say it like that, is to determine a baseline. With the amount of information that the FBI is able to access through this cast way of doing things, they are able to establish a baseline for virtually from any angle you are looking at a situation. It's really quite remarkable. I'm trying to get that video out, but I want to be thorough in it and include all of the details that can be found. You know, I have one of the like training guides. It's 134 pages. I'm working my way through it. If anyone wants to volunteer to help out with that, let me know, because it's pretty dense. And I'm planning on getting some solid information out to you. I saw that some other people had tried to, you know, put content out there about it, and it's all good and stuff. I guess I am being critical, but I want to put something more complete for you guys out there that goes really deep into it, because I think that's where the value is. So yeah, Deb, hey, how are you doing? Deb says something is off in all this. Absolutely, 100%, no doubt about that. Something very strange. And Richie 7G, thank you so much for being here again. Richie was on the last live stream too, and had so many great things to say. I thank both you and Just Larry a million times over. I just saw your comment. He said that another creator put up some other security cam or body cam footage that heard the horn at 2:54 a.m. And I'm not even clear on what the significance is of that. But if you want to expand on it, I would love to know and talk about it with everyone. All right. Hey, Christina, how are you doing? Christina says, I believe Steve takes his case more serious than anyone, along with the other parents of victims. However, I would need to know more on his source. Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, it would be very nice to know more about his source. That's why I wish the interviewer asked at least one follow-up question. You know, I was like, that was really, you know, she should have, I don't know why she didn't. Shame on you, interviewer, but good interview. It's hard to think on your feet like that, I'm sure. Yeah, I do think this is very possible. Again, Just Larry says there may be no connection there, but I'll be shocked if not. I think he started obsessing with Maddie and Xana, and from there he followed them all. I think that is high up, in my opinion, in the realm of all possibilities regarding, you know, there was obviously some degree of targeting. I mean, I think it's, I just believe that is almost a given at this point. People in the town will say much. Well, hi Monique, how are you doing? And welcome. And I'm sorry to pick out your comment because I'm going to dispute it, but I'm glad that you're here and you're welcome to voice your opinion. But I just have something to say about it. So Monique says to Joan, the people in the town won't say much except the fact that they say that house was a drug house. Well, as a lot of you know, I have had a strong connection to two University of Idaho students who are also Sigma Chi members who were very close with Ethan Chapin and Hunter Chapin and were friends with everyone in that house. Now, I just need to say this. It's hard for you to relay, you know, how I measure their, you know, truthfulness or not when I'm talking to them. But I've been talking to these guys literally for 7 months at a certain point for about a 2-month period, very, very regularly. And again, it was not with the intent of even making content at that time. It was just, we started talking about this case and, you know, they were really shook by it. And my background is in psychology. And I think we kind of took on that relationship. But I have acknowledged that even they have said that the people that lived in that house were college students. And I've been more specific about it in the past, but I'm not going to anymore because, again, I don't want to contribute to any of the misinformation. Whoop, lost my, whatever that's called. And so if you want to find that, go back through the live streams, but I don't want to put it out there again. But, you know, they acknowledge that, yes, the people in that house did partake in activities as many college students do. You know, whether you think that's right or wrong doesn't really matter. But they said that it absolutely positively was not a drug house. In talking to them, I had the ability to talk to a couple other people, and nobody felt that that was the reputation of that house during the time when the victims were residents. They did concede that in some, you know, well, a certain previous residents lived there, and I had specified several times, and no, I don't mean the last set of residents, and I don't even know who they are. There was that reputation in the house, but it is no longer the case. And from the several sources I've heard that from firsthand, I believe it. I also just believe in, you know, from the observations that we can make of the people who lived in that house. And, you know, being someone who professionally works with people who have addiction problems and do get involved in higher levels of business ventures with substances they partake in. Is that okay, YouTube? I don't know what to say. Sometimes YouTube, help me out. It's just not consistent with that, in my opinion. All right, but you're welcome to have your opinion. All right, so let me bring this down a little bit here. Okay, so before we go on to the next thing, I do want to give a shout out to a channel that I think even during the last live stream, I was sort of admonishing, in my opinion, and that is Crime Circus. Crime Circus put out a video today that I was extremely impressed with, and kind of absolutely 100% outright acknowledged, drip drop, acknowledged, that things have really gotten out of hand with this case. And I thought that what he had to say was very honest and forthcoming. I personally appreciated it immensely. And so I just want to give a shout out to Drip Drop on that. Let's see. Drip Drop. I feel silly saying that. No, not my channel. Wait, just one sec. I'm just going to play like a minute of that. Then we're going to move on to looking at the PCA and comparing it to some rumors. Okay. And I can't believe I'm endorsing him, but I really liked what he had to say. This is kind of interesting. This is kind of interesting here. Let me go to where. Sorry, guys. I'm just trying to find a spot. Okay, here we are. This was great. I loved it. Okay. Sorry. Okay, so he's making a comparison here, and Just Larry said something like this in the last live stream we did, where, you can easily put ideas in the minds of people by, just listen to Drip Drop here. Kudos to you, Drip Drop. I really like this past video. Keep it up. I hope he stays on this route.
There's some mysterious things going bump in the night in Moscow, Idaho. Allegedly. Almost like looking for faces in the clouds or listening to sweet nothings whispered into your ears. Sometimes you just hear what you want to hear. And when there's words put on the screen, sometimes you hear exactly what you're reading instead of actually what's there. It's almost like some sort of thought experiment. Just imagine yourself all alone in a dark forest late at night. You hear a branch crack. You hear rustling in the leaves. Your mind will play tricks on you and deceive. You may develop goosebumps. The hairs on the back of your neck may raise, and you may assume it's a wild boar, a bear, maybe even a tiger or lion, or maybe even a crazed serial killer. Every single one of the towns that each one of us lives in has our own crazed BK running around late at night, doing bad things. And your mind might even think that it's him, rustling through the leaves, breaking that branch. But it could have just been the wind blowing. Wasn't it usually just the wind on Scooby-Doo? Well, that's what it could be, is the wind rustling the leaves. The wind blowing a dead branch out of the trees. It could all just be a bunch of nothing. This camera, located on Linda Lane, is quite a distance away from 1122 King Road. It's attached to an apartment complex. This is a college town. There are a bunch of other apartments right next door. We have no idea where these sounds are coming from, or if they've been embedded after the fact into this video. We don't know. I really think online sleuths should probably start taking themselves a little more serious, because this is serious business. And things really should be fact-checked way more. We don't always get it right. And if we don't, corrections should be issued. This shouldn't be all about the views and the clicks. And I'm not calling anyone out. This is just for everyone, including myself. We need to do better.
Okay, so I just thought that was great. And I felt that he was just being very sincere and forthcoming there. I could be wrong. I don't know the person. But, you know, I just want to encourage him, boom, right? To keep doing what he's doing, because there are a lot of us out there that appreciate that very, very much. So, and yeah, I love what you had to say, just Larry. Yeah, I just think it's, and you know, in my mind, it's like just complete ridiculousness that the 1122 King Road was a drug house. But you know, some of y'all need to pay better attention to what, Monique. What are you talking about? I know you meant pay attention. I gotcha. All right, so let me bring this other video here into the stream. So we start talking about the PCA and what it really says. No, not that. That's us. Here we go.
That has to deal with a crime scene at 1122 King Road, Moscow, Idaho. And it also has to deal with the statements made by the surviving roommates, Bethany and Dylan. And there are plenty of legitimate questions out there, but some of the speculation and conjecture is getting a little bit crazy. I'm hoping that the detailed visual outline will help us remember what is fact and what is fiction so we can proceed sensibly. The following is what is contained in the probable cause affidavit towards the arrest of Bryan Kohberger in the Idaho 4 tragedy, the murders of Kelly Goncalves, Madison Mogan, Xana Kernodle, and Ethan Chapin. The below information is provided by Brett Payne, who is a duly appointed, qualified, and acting peace officer within the County of Latah, state of Idaho. Brett Payne is employed by Moscow Police Department in the official capacity or position of corporal and has been a trained and qualified peace officer for approximately 4 years. Corporal Payne is being assisted by members of the Idaho State Police and agents of the Federal Bureau of Investigation. On November 13th, 2022, at approximately 4 p.m., Moscow Police Department Sergeant Blaker and I responded to 1122 King Road, Moscow, Idaho, hereafter the King Road residence, to assist with scene security and processing of a crime scene.
I'm going to find a version of this that I have. The background music, I hear what you're saying now, is a little bit too loud. I'm working on that, though. I'll switch you over in a sec.
Associated with 4 homicides. Upon our arrival, the Idaho State Police, ISP, forensic team was on the scene and was preparing to begin processing the scene. MPD Officer Smith, one of the initial responding officers to the incident, advised he would walk me through the scene.
Oh, good. I thought I chilled that out. I think I did. Okay, here we go.
Officer Smith and I entered the King Road residence through the bottom floor door on the north side of the building. Officer Smith and I then walked upstairs to the second floor. Officer Smith directed me down the hallway to the...
Sorry, I just see a couple things going on, chat. And I know that my moderators are doing a great job, but everyone here, you're allowed to say whatever you like. On this channel, we allow for a range of opinions, particularly with things that are truly unknown, because we do not know all the facts of this case. There's a strict and broad gag order in place, and that leaves us at a loss for a lot of the substantial information. But the rule here is you must be respectful to one another, to the victims and their families. So if we're not following that rule, we'll just, time you out, and then, whatever, like we're adults. So let's just act like adults.
The west bedroom on the second floor, which I later learned through Xana's driver license and other personal belongings found in the room, was Xana Kernodle's, hereafter Kernodle's, room. Just before this room, there was a bathroom door on the south wall of the hallway. As I approached the room, I could see a body, later identified as Kernodle's, lying on the floor. Kernodle was deceased with wounds which appeared to have been caused by an edged weapon. Also in the room was a male, later identified as Ethan Chapin, hereafter Chapin. Chapin was also deceased with wounds determined later, autopsy reports provided by Spokane County Medical Examiner, dated December 15th, to be caused by sharp force injuries. I followed Officer Smith upstairs to the third floor of the residence. The third floor consisted of 2 bedrooms and 1 bathroom. The bedroom on the west side of the floor was later determined to be Kelly Goncalves's, hereafter Goncalves's room. I later learned from review of Officer Noon's body camera there was a dog in the room when Moscow police officers initially responded. The dog belonged to Goncalves and her ex-boyfriend, Jack Decor. I found out from my interview with Jack Decor on November 13th, 2022, that he and Goncalves shared the dog. Officer Smith then pointed out a small bathroom on the east side of the third floor. This bathroom shared a wall with Madison Mogan's, hereafter Mogan, bedroom, which was situated on the southeast corner of the third floor. As I entered this bedroom, I could see 2 females in the single bed in the room. Both Goncalves and Mogan were deceased with visible stab wounds. I also later noticed what appeared to be a tan leather knife sheath laying on the bed next to Mogan's right side when viewed from the door. The sheath was later processed and had a K-bar, USMC, and the United States Marine Corps Eagle globe and an anchor insignia stamped on the outside of it. The Idaho State Lab later located a single source of male DNA, suspect profile, left on the button snap of the knife sheath. As part of the investigation, numerous interviews were conducted by Moscow Police Department officers, Idaho State Police detectives, and FBI agents. 2 of the interviews include.
Now, we do know at this time, based on what we know from the motions that have been filed and the responses that have been filed by the defense and the prosecution, it appears that the prosecution's strategy is to attack the training and the methodology used by the officers, perhaps the evidence collection techniques used by the officers. And it looks like they are, going towards officers, 3 of them in total, from the Moscow Police Department, as well as the Idaho State Police.
BF, Bethany, and DM, Dylan. Both BF and DM were inside the King Road residence at the time of the homicides and were roommates to the victims. BF's bedroom was located on the east side of the first floor of the King Road residence. Based on numerous interviews conducted by MPD officers, ISP detectives, and FBI agents, as well as my review of evidence, I have learned the following. On the evening of November 12th, 2022, Chapin and Kernodle are seen by BF at the Sigma Chi House on the University of Idaho campus at 735 Nez Perce Drive from approximately 9 p.m. on November 12th to 1:45 a.m. on November 13th. BF also estimated that at approximately 1:45 a.m., Chapin and Kernodle returned to the King Road residence. BF also stated that Chapin did not live in the King Road residence, but was a guest of Kernodle. Goncalves and Mogan were at a local bar, the Corner Club, at 202 North Main Street in Moscow. Goncalves and Mogan can be seen on video footage provided by the Corner Club between 10 p.m. on November 12th and 1:30 a.m. on November 13th. At approximately 1:30 a.m., Goncalves and Mogan can be seen on video at a local food vendor called the Grub Truck at 318 South Main Street in downtown Moscow. The Grub Truck live streams video from their food truck on the streaming platform Twitch, which is available for public viewing on their website. The video is captured by law enforcement. A private party, redacted, reported that he provided a ride to Goncalves and Mogan at approximately 1:56 a.m. from downtown Moscow.
And now here is one area, guys, where I want to point out that there's been, people were saying that it was an Uber, that they called Uber, and that has been, something that has been taken as fact by many people, but that is not the case. They called somebody they're associated with from a certain fraternity, and it's a common thing for the pledges in a fraternity to have to do things like be the sober driver for the guys in the fraternity or their girlfriends or a different sorority or whatever the case may be. And that's exactly what happened here. So the driver was a pledge from a fraternity. And I'm not going to say anything more about that because that person does not wish to be known, and I'm going to respect that. I know who it is, though.
In front of the Grub Truck to the King Road residence. Roommates Dylan and Bethany both made statements during interviews that indicated the occupants of the King Road residence were home by 2 a.m. and asleep, or at least in their rooms by approximately 4 a.m. This is with the exception of Kernodle, who received a DoorDash order at the residence at approximately 4 a.m.
So let's listen to the wording here carefully, because this is another area where there's a lot of speculation. And you know what? Before we go on here, I just want to clear something up, because I've seen already that there's a lot of talk about the shoe size in chat. And I just said to Jeannie, I don't believe that they mentioned a shoe size, just that it was a Vans style print on the bottom of the shoe. So I'm just going to go to that part of the PCA, because we do have the answer. It's very clear. So this is the part of the PCA where they mentioned the shoe print. It says, during the processing of the crime scene, investigators found a latent shoe print. This was located during the second processing of the crime scene by the ISP forensic team by first using a presumptive blood test and then amino black, a protein stain that detects the presence of cellular material. The detected shoe print shows a diamond-shaped pattern similar to that of a Vans type shoe sole just outside of DM's bedroom door, located on the second floor. This is consistent with Dylan Mortensen's statement regarding the suspect's path of travel. So I know that a couple people, so I just read someone said it was size 13, it was a size 12, it was a size 11. And I know that's another thing that some people have believed was stated and are taking as fact. But I just want to let you know that a shoe size has not been disclosed through the probable cause affidavit. And due to the gag order, it's very hard for me to believe that any other credible source has disclosed the shoe size. So I just wanted to clear that up really quick since we know the answer. Okay, let me get back. There we go. Okay, moving on. So now we're talking about Xana's DoorDash. Let me just go back a couple seconds so we can hear the full thing.
By 2 a.m. and asleep, or at least in their rooms by approximately 4 a.m. This is with the exception of Kernodle, who received a DoorDash order at the residence at approximately 4 a.m. Law enforcement identified the DoorDash delivery driver who reported this information. DM stated she originally went to sleep in her bedroom on the southeast side of the second floor. DM stated she was awoken at approximately 4 a.m. by what she stated sounded like Goncalves playing with her dog in one of the upstairs bedrooms, which were located on the third floor. A short time.
Now, and I think later in this video, I'm going to point out how, how Maddie and Kaylee's respective rooms are situated relative to Dylan Mortensen. So I think that's a big deal. So just hold on for that, because it's coming up in a second, I think.
Time later, DM said she heard who she thought was Goncalves say something to the effect of, "There's someone here." A review of records obtained from a forensic download of Kernodle's phone showed this could have also been Kernodle, as her cellular phone indicated she was likely awake and using TikTok app at approximately 4:12 a.m. DM Dylan Mortensen stated she looked out of her bedroom but did not see anything when she heard the comment about someone being in the house. DM stated she opened her door a second time when she heard what she thought was crying coming from Kernodle's room. DM then said she heard a male voice say something to the effect of, quote, "It's okay, I'm going to help you," end quote. At approximately 4:17 a.m., a security camera located at 1112 King Road, a resident immediately to the northwest of 1122 King Road, picked up a distorted audio of what sounded like voices or a whimper, followed by a loud thud. A dog can also be heard barking numerous times starting at 4:17 a.m. The security camera is less than 50 feet from the west wall of Kernodle's bedroom. DM stated she opened her door for the third time after she heard the crying and saw a figure clad in black clothing and a mask that covered the person's mouth and nose walking towards her. DM described the figure as 5'10" or taller, male, not very muscular, but athletically built with bushy eyebrows. The male walked past DM as she stood in a frozen shock phase. That's a quote.
What happened? What did I do here? Okay, little glitch in the video.
There is the window right here.
All right. Wait for my glitch to end. Oops, press play.
Right. So there is a window right here that goes out into that back kind of ground floor patio or deck area. Turning around the room. Here is the door that we're looking at right now that exits out towards the living area and kitchen. And just so you can get a full picture of this room, here's the rest of it. Something important to note about this room is that if we were to go straight up, Madison's room is directly above Dylan's second floor bedroom. So this is Madison's room. We're going to get to this in a minute. We note here where the knife sheath was found and, some other things. But for now, let's go back down to Dylan's second floor bedroom.
Okay, and so just before doing that, I just want to address this and comment in the chat here, because this comment was something that was frequently, the spirit of it was posted on the video that I posted yesterday of the deleted interview. And welcome, Czar, how are you doing? Says, didn't Kohberger turn his phone off, put it into airplane mode that night as he was heading towards Moscow in an effort to hide his whereabouts? Yes, he did. We do know that. And when, Steve Goncalves was talking about his phone touching the Wi-Fi, he certainly did not specify it was that night. If you listen to the interview in the context of the conversation, it definitely was not directed towards being that evening or, the early morning hours of November 13th. So my take on what he's saying is that just happened at some point during one of the 12 times that we know about where he is known to be right near the residence.
Woo. Directly below Madison's bedroom. Okay, so here we are. All right, so now as we approach the door, I'm going to get that.
And then I just want to say thank you to Mark Willis. I saw your other comment too. Thank you so much for the super chat. I really appreciate it. Thanks for being here and for supporting the channel. I'm glad you like the content. And Mark says, I don't care if it's touch DNA. His DNA is still there. Didn't just float there and land on the sheath. Yeah. Yes, I agree. And Just Larry says, you know, something really smart about that. I'll play it in a minute here when we get through this. In the live stream we did the other night, I put in that video of the deleted interview as well, because I thought it was just brilliant, you know, just really brings it together of all of the coincidental happenstances that would have had to have occurred for his DNA to end up on that sheath and the sheath located where it was and all of that stuff. So you guys are, you know, kind of along the same thinking, and, you know, as am I. And, you know, if facts come out that prove what my current thought is wrong, I'll be happy to say that. But, you know, the facts as I know them to be right now lead me to believe something as just as it does you and everyone else. And thank you very much, Mark.
Close, I don't think. Let me turn back around.
It's hard to navigate this
Closet.
3D view.
I'm going to stand over here again in the corner, looking into the room from the far corner. Okay, so now we're going to head out that door. So as you're looking out of Dylan's second floor bedroom, this is what you're seeing. You're looking into the kitchen. You're not facing or directly seeing a door to Xana's bedroom or even her bathroom. So I believe when you look at the layout of 1122 King Road from this perspective, it helps for the PCA to make more sense. So again, Dylan's second floor bedroom is right next to the stairwell to the third floor. All right, so just hanging back in that bedroom for a moment. Turning around. So now remember, it was, of course, dark out. It was around 4 a.m. when this tragedy occurred. So here's a vantage point in darkness as you're looking out from Dylan's second floor bedroom into the living area at night. You can't see much, right? So again, to me, this helps to make a lot more sense of the PCA and Dylan's account in the PCA that many, including myself, have found to be extremely questionable. This gives us some really great perspective and helps us to stand where Dylan was standing at that time. Although we certainly can't feel the fear she was feeling, this gives us a better perspective, right? Now we see on the ground here is that footprint that is mentioned in the PCA. During the processing of the crime scene, investigators found a latent shoe print. This was located during the second processing of the crime scene by the ISP forensic team by first using a presumptive blood test and then the amino black, a protein stain that detects the presence of cellular material. The detected shoe print showed a diamond-shaped pattern similar to the pattern of Yvonne's type.
Yeah, I just want to interject. On this channel, we're not going to talk about anything or chat about anything that implicates Brett Kopacka. From everything that I've learned, he is completely innocent of any involvement in this crime. And if at a later date I learn that I'm wrong, I will be happy to say so. And I do respect your opinions, but, you know, I guess the respect that I have for you know, decorated veterans of the United States, you know, trumps just about anything. It's just a matter of respect, guys. So I don't want that discussion in this chat, please. There's very few times I'm going to say that.
Of shoe sole.
Sorry, but this is one of them.
Just outside the door of DM's bedroom, located on the second floor. This is consistent with DM's statement regarding the suspects, and it is very close to Dylan's bedroom. Now, here's the interesting thing. If this footprint right here is facing in the direction that the person was walking, I don't know. What do you think? Would it be heading up to the third floor, or would it indeed be going into the kitchen? Oops. Okay. So now again, we're looking in the dark. Oh my goodness, right?
Okay, I want to pause for another little interjection here to answer another question in chat. I'm sorry to break this up, but there's no way that I can like tag them and get back to them all. It's just too hard. Oh, I just had a good picture. It's about the Vans shoe. Let's see here. Let me find one I can blow up big. Let's see. How about open in another window? See if we can blow this one up. Okay, that was pretty good. All right, so here is what the bottom of a Vans shoe looks like, or, you know, also known as the sole of the shoe, right? So let me bring that into the stream here. So let me take down the chat there. So that's what we've got, all right? And then in the PCA there, the picture that they provided us, let's see, I'm on 1650. I'm at 17. Okay, or you know what? I'm sorry. I may have put that in here. I don't think there's actually a picture in the PCA, right? I don't know. I don't think there is. I think I put that in there. I'm sorry. Let me go confirm that. But anyway, that's what a Vans shoe looks like. The sole of a Vans shoe. Let me go get my information correct and I'll bring you back on that one.
Because if the foot was angled just a bit more, it would be heading up those steps to the third floor. Let's turn the lights back on. Oh, then we have to turn back around. Okay. All right. So now, oh, and then you can see, let's go into the kitchen here. So you can see if we go into the kitchen from that vantage point, you wouldn't be able to see absolutely if the perpetrator walked out the sliding glass door. So the wording that's used in the probable cause affidavit that he was walking towards the sliding glass door in the kitchen, it sounds more reasonable once again when we're looking at the interior of the house from this perspective. Would you?
Okay, so I really bang home the point there on what Dylan saw because that's really what that video was about. So I'm going to switch over now to just reading from the probable cause affidavit outside of this video because this video does not contain the rest of the reading and I don't think any other videos that do. So now we are going to go into the part where they start to talk about the video canvas. And yeah, all right. All right. As part of this investigation, an extensive search commonly referred to in law enforcement as a video canvas was conducted in the area of the King Road residence. This video canvas was to obtain any footage from early morning hours of November 13, 2022 in the area of the King Road residence and surrounding neighborhoods in an effort to locate the suspect or suspects, vehicle or vehicles, traveling to or leaving the King Road residence. This video canvas resulted in the collection of numerous surveillance videos in the area from both residential and business addresses. I reviewed numerous videos that were collected and have had conversations with other MPD officers, ISP detectives, and FBI agents that are similarly reviewing footage that was obtained. A review of camera footage indicated that a white sedan, hereafter suspect vehicle 1, was observed traveling westbound in the 700 block of Indian Hills Drive at Moscow at approximately 3:26 a.m. and westbound on Snyder Avenue at Idaho State Highway 95 in Moscow at approximately 11:28 a.m. On this video, it appeared suspect 1 vehicle was not displaying a front license plate, as Bryan Kohberger's car is not. A review of the footage from multiple videos obtained from the King Road neighborhood showed multiple sightings of suspect 1 vehicle starting at 3:29 a.m. and ending at 4:20 a.m. These sightings showed suspect 1 vehicle making initial 3 passes by the 1122 King Road residence and then leaves via Walentna Drive. Based off my experience as a patrol officer, this is a residential neighborhood with a very limited number of vehicles that travel in this area during the early morning hours. Upon review of the video, there are only a few cars that enter and exit this area during the time frame. This might be one area where he really messed up. Suspect 1 vehicle can be seen entering the area a 4th time, approximately 4:04 a.m. Oh, I just noticed a typo I never noticed before. I hate it when there's typos in these official documents. It can be seen driving eastbound on King Road, stopping and turning around in front of 500 Queen Road, number 52, then driving back westbound on King Road. When suspect vehicle 1 is in front of the King Road residence, it appeared to unsuccessfully attempt to park or turn around in the road. The vehicle then continued to the intersection of Queen Road and King Road, where it can be seen completing a 3-point turn and then driving eastbound down Queen Road. And guys, when I was reading this probable cause again earlier today, because I've just noticed that people are starting to misquote it, and I was like, maybe I am too. I need to like clean it up. We've talked about many times how long this probable cause affidavit is. And I came to the conclusion for myself that might be because they describe in so much detail the path of travel of this white Elantra or suspect vehicle 1, however you want to say it. And that just takes up a lot of time and a lot of words. I think that they felt they needed to be complete in that towards the probable cause, but I don't know. That's just my opinion. Suspect vehicle 1 is next seen departing the area of King Road residence at approximately 4:20 a.m. at a high rate of speed. I think that's important. Suspect vehicle 1 is next observed traveling southbound on Walentna Drive. Based on my knowledge of the area and review of the camera footage in the neighborhood that does not show suspect vehicle 1 during that time frame, I believe that suspect vehicle 1 likely exited the neighborhood at Palos River Drive and Conestoga Drive. Palos River Drive is at the southern edge of Moscow and proceeds into Whitman County, Washington. Eventually, the road leads to Pullman, Washington. Pullman, Washington is approximately 10 miles from Moscow, Idaho. Both Pullman and Moscow are small college towns, and people commonly travel back and forth between them. Law enforcement officers provided video footage of suspect 1 vehicle to forensic examiners with the Federal Bureau of Investigations that regularly utilizes surveillance footage to identify the year, make, and model of an unknown vehicle that is observed by 1 or more cameras during the commission of a criminal offense. The forensic examiner has approximately 35 years law enforcement experience and 12 years in the FBI. His specific training includes identifying unique characteristics of vehicles, and he uses database that gives a visual clues of vehicles across states to identify between different vehicles. After reviewing numerous observations of suspect vehicle 1, the forensic examiner initially believed that suspect vehicle 1 was a 2011 to 13 Hyundai Elantra. Upon further review, he indicated it could also be 2011 to 2016 Hyundai Elantra. As a result, investigators have been reviewing information on persons in possession of a vehicle that is of the make or of the year 2011 to 2016 white Hyundai Elantra. So I think, guys, that statement there explains, the problem that some people bring up, and, kind of, I think rightfully so, that initially they were looking for a car of a certain year range, and then it changed. I think that explains it here. We've all seen security camera footage and how grainy it is and how difficult it is to decipher the images that are seen in security camera footage. And it needed to be sent away to a specialist in Quantico to get an accurate read on what they were seeing. And that is very consistent with what we know about other investigations. And to me, that makes a lot of sense. Investigators were given access to video footage on the Washington State University campus located in Pullman, Washington. A review of that video indicated that at approximately 2:44 a.m. on November 13th, white sedan, which is consistent with the description of the white Elantra known as suspect vehicle 1, was observed and the WSU surveillance cameras traveling north on Southeast Nevada Street at Northeast Stadium Way. At approximately 2:53 a.m., a white sedan, which is consistent with the description of the white Hyundai Elantra known as suspect vehicle 1, was observed traveling southeast on Nevada Street in Pullman, Washington, towards SR 270. SR 270 connects Pullman to Moscow. The camera footage from Pullman, Washington, was provided to the same FBI forensic examiner. The forensic examiner identified the vehicle observed in Pullman as being a 2014 to 2016 Hyundai Elantra. So you see how this is all breaking down. At approximately 5:25 a.m., a white sedan, which was consistent with the description of the suspect vehicle 1, was observed on 5 cameras in Pullman, Washington, on WSU campus cameras. The first camera recorded the white sedan located at a certain location. Now, this just gets very specific, and if we're not like mapping it out visually, I'm just not going to read all of that because my voice is going to get exhausted. Some people have done some really great videos mapping that out. Maybe I can find one real quick and show it to you. On November 25th, 2022, MPD asked area law enforcement agencies to BLO for the white Hyundai Elantra. And on November 29th at approximately 12:28 a.m., WSU police officer Daniel Tiango queried white Elantras registered at WSU. As a result of that query, he found the Elantra with a Pennsylvania plate of his plate number registered to Kohberger. It's approximately 3/4 of a mile from the intersection of Stadium Way and Cougar Way. Last camera to pick up the white Elantra, and that was at, I'm not sure where because I didn't read the whole thing, sorry. On the same day at approximately 11:58 a.m., WSU officer Curtis Whitman was looking for white Hyundai Elantras and located a 2015 white Hyundai Elantra at redacted in Pullman in the parking lot, redacted as an apartment complex that houses WSU students. Again, they connected that to Kohberger. Now, interesting here, it says the license indicates Kohberger is a white male with a height of 6 foot and weighs 185 pounds. Now, that Crime Circus video that I played you a little snippet of because I like his new ethics was arguing that Kohberger is, he said, at least 6'3" to 6'5". Now, while I agree if you look at Kohberger and compared to other men in pictures that he is standing among, he generally is the tallest man among the group of men. I personally felt like 6'3" to 6'5" was an overestimate of his height, but what do I know? I have nothing else to, justify my opinion other than that just he doesn't seem that tall. But maybe he's a little taller than 6 foot. But, let's think about this. Maybe he got his picture taken when he was 16, or he got his height on his license registered into his license identification criteria. When he was 16, he renewed his license and didn't change it. I had that happen on my own license, and I think it's very common. Kohberger's physical description is consistent with the description of the male that Dylan Mortensen saw at the King Road residence on November 13th. Further investigation, including review of Latah County Sheriff's Deputy Corporal Duke's body camera and report, shows that on August 21st, Kohberger was detained as part of a traffic stop. And then we learn what his cell phone number is, and that his number was issued by AT&T. Let me check back in with you guys. Okay. Let me just see the comments here. I don't know if just reading this is getting dry for you, or do you want me to keep going? Oh, yes. Okay, here's an important point. Let's see. Richie7G says to Joan that they have the 1112 King Road camera. I believe this will seal it that BK's car, and if Murphy is seen being taken outside, I think it shows him parking and walking in. So there is, you know what, I'm going to put the link to come up on panel in chat if anyone does want to come up. And I think I might save the part of the probable cause affidavit with all of the phone pings for the next live stream, hopefully after I get out that video on the FBI CAS technology and methodology. Why can't I do this? Copy, and paste. Okay, there we go. All right. So if anybody does want to come up, you're welcome to come up, and you're just going to give me a minute here because I need to find, let's see. something that I think is really important. You know what? While I'm doing that, you can listen to the rest of Steve G talking in case you want to chew on something. I feel like I always have to be entertaining. All right. I guess this is my channel and this is a live stream, so that's what I do. All right. I use the word entertaining lightly. No one has to ding me on that, please.
So you know how close that is. If you've had a laptop, you walk out in your front yard, you're not going to get too far. So
I don't think I saw that part. Wow. Again, similar to the connection, but motive. I mean, any indication as to, like you said, there's nothing that can explain this, and you can't make sense out of something that doesn't make sense. But any motive that you guys have gleaned from all of this?
I'd just be guessing, but he taught a class that studied killers and how they did these things. I think he thought in his little fantasy world that he was going to teach a class where he actually did it and no one had a clue, and then that gave him a sense of superiority. Like, you're getting your grades graded by somebody who actually has lived this lifestyle. So, but that would just be my guess, though.
When things like this happen and suspects are found, I think so often the media attention turns to the suspect, and we don't want to glorify and we don't want to keep plastering his picture. I mean, I don't know how much of the news you've been watching, but what can we do to better serve the victims and their families to ensure that we're continuing to highlight them? And what message do you have for people that are going to watch the story?
My message is that, I'm here for my daughter and Maddie, but there's two other people that are just as important, and their kids went through just as much, and their losses are just as real. So I think, as a media, you can show those other people that they're just as important and they're in the spotlight as well. And their parents have chosen to do it more private, and I totally respect that. I'm usually a very private person, but in this case, it was a situation where I felt like I was going to be required to come out and make sure that the story didn't die, and we built some momentum, and we got everyone involved that we possibly could. With the media, yeah, don't glorify this guy. It's going to be hard, putting his face in his picture. We just don't want to create another breed of these guys. There's Netflix videos right now. We know what they are that glorify these type of people, give them, Hollywood fame, and they concentrate on them and not the victims.
So that's a great message from Steve Goncalves. So now, in regards to, oh gosh, what the heck? I hate that this happens. All right, if I go somewhere, I'll be right back. All right. Sorry about that, guys. I forgot to switch to my higher capability computer. Okay. So in regards to, what Richie 7G was just saying about believing that there's that ring camera footage from houses in the area, I'm creating a video about that as well, also in production. So this is some of the stuff that I found in regards to things that people have said, specifically Kelly Goncalves' sister. Let's see, where's that one video? I just had my hands on. Hold it. Yeah, here it is, I think. Yep, okay. How long's the video? Yeah, I'll just play the whole video. I think it's in this. Gosh, I hope it's in this. I think it is. Let's try it.
Focusing their attention on the brutal slayings of 4 college kids.
And how do you kill 4 people with a knife?
We're learning about another strange detail in this case.
My most immediate question is, where's the suspect?
Dozens of websites and postings from armchair detectives are springing up, and some of the best-known lawyers and detectives are offering their own theories about what may have happened.
Interesting how 4 students can be overcome by one person with a knife, not a gun.
Olivia Goncalves isn't waiting for police. She's tracking down her own leads to find her sister Kaylee's killer.
We're not getting any answers, and we're not going to settle for that.
Hi. It was Olivia who found the potentially crucial video of her sister and Madison Mogan at a food truck just hours before they were murdered. She also tracked down their Uber driver.
I found neighbors' Ring camera footage so that I can verify that the Uber driver took her home.
She's also raising questions about why her sister called a young man named Jack multiple times the night she was sleeping.
That's actually mischaracterization. What that reporter just said. She wasn't raising questions. She was trying to quell people raising questions. But so let's listen to what she said right here again.
So that I can verify that the Uber driver took her. I found neighbors' Ring camera footage so that I can verify that the Uber driver took her home.
Okay, so first of all, as I told you guys, it's not an Uber driver. It is a junior, a fraternity pledge guy. I almost just said something wrong there. But so she says she found Ring camera footage to verify that the driver took her home. So clearly that footage must have been near their house for Olivia, who is hungry for accurate and precise information, to feel satisfied that she believes that the driver actually took them home. Do you see what I'm saying here? So next, we also have this. Oh, great. Here I go, giving away the contents of my next video. Good job, Cal. It's all good. Just kidding. Kind of. Okay, so here, let's see if I can hit this on the money. What's that at? All right, I'm going to go back a couple minutes. I think we're right around, I think that's good. Okay, yeah, perfect. Okay.
Specifically.
Well, they expanded it, and there was volunteers that walked around, and they disclosed that they were looking and found different things. So, you know, they did share with me that that may have more to do with keeping cameras out than it actually does with evidence gathering. So I hope that that is indeed the case, because it would be pretty disheartening a week later to know that they didn't have the right claims.
One of the mother of one of the surviving roommates, so reminding our viewers, there were two roommates who were upstairs and survived this, told a reporter that those roommates heard something that night. Have you been told? Have you heard from sharing with other?
And that's inaccurate too. It was the mother of one of the victims. It was Stacy Chapin who said that. So these reporters need to get their shit together.
Relatives of the other victims, what that was exactly?
No, I would say for us that we did hear those rumors, but right now we can only leave it at that. None of that has ever been confirmed to us.
We have not spoke with the roommates.
Yeah.
The surviving roommates, and they were downstairs, just to clarify that for you, sir.
Okay, downstairs, right, on a different floor from where it appears.
Which of course was also inaccurate. I guess they just did not know at the time.
Where the murders took place. One consistent thing, and granted, there's been some, changes, as you note, in how the police have described this. One consistent descriptor has been that the attack was targeted. Do you know if police believe one person in the house was the target of this attack, or all four?
I've been told it's one, but then again, there's the vagueness. Like, it's like purposely vague. I'm hoping.
You know what? I think I went too far. I'm sorry. I did. I'm pretty sure. Let's see.
Anything.
I understand you have frustrations for how police and investigators have handled the crime scene. What are those frustrations specifically?
Well, they expanded it, and there was volunteers that walked around, and they disclosed that they were looking and found different things. So, they did share with me that that may have more to do with keeping cameras out than it actually does with evidence gathering. So I hope that that is indeed.
I'm sorry. I didn't hit it on the money. Just one second. I've got to do a search of the transcript here. Sorry about that, guys. Let me see here. Let me see. Sorry. Clearly some footage of the phone. The phone sounds like police. You were saying, okay. Wait, hold it. You were saying in the early days you believe they may have missed. darn, I can't find it. It's here. It's in here somewhere in this interview. Here, let's listen. Let's just listen from the point where I stopped on, and we're going to either hear it or not. I guess that's what's going to happen. Okay.
Other than maybe somebody had a different kind of attack footprint.
Yeah.
So, I feel like we just want some more. We all want to play a part in helping, and we can't play a part if we don't have any real substantial information to work from.
Yeah, I get it. You want to help. I mean, Olivia, you found video that has been helpful in this investigation. I'm sure you do want to help. Has anyone indicated to you that if it was indeed one person targeted, was Kaylee the target? Has anybody shared that with you?
They won't confirm who that was to us.
The police, that is.
We've heard the rumor that that's the case, but it's just a rumor at this point.
Tons and tons of rumors, but nothing from the police.
And I'll say, I think a lot of those rumors do stem from all of the vagueness, and it's human nature to want answers. It's human nature to kind of put forth a theory so that you can even comprehend it in your brain. And so I think that's how we're getting all of some of these really, really off the wall theories, and some of these theories like Kaylee had a stalker, that even we're sitting here scratching our heads saying, no, it couldn't be. If it was, it would be news to us.
I am sure it is frustrating. Your family has been very outspoken in support of Jack. He's Kaylee's ex-boyfriend. And on the Moscow police website, he is not listed, notably, as someone who has been cleared in the investigation. To your knowledge, is that significant?
No, I don't personally think so, because I think that there's the entire rest of the world that's also not on that list of people who have been cleared, including Maddie's boyfriend, including any associates of Xana or Ethan that might not be involved. I don't find that significant at all.
And there were a number of phone calls to him that night, and you say that would have been typical behavior for Kaylee, that she often would call friends, folks, for a whole bunch of things.
At any time, multiple times, until I would pick up at 3 a.m. and be like, Kaylee, what?
Yeah.
That's some of the last footage of her at that food court. She's on her phone 24/7 filming the whole thing. So she lived on that phone. So
it sounds like you're saying that the delays here in sharing information, the delays in, well, frankly, making more progress on the investigation, mean the police have lost their best opportunity, right? I think, Olivia, you were saying that those early hours and days are key. That's when you can make real progress. Do you believe that they've missed their best chance here, or may have?
Not only is that's just not a matter of opinion, that's a matter of fact. If you look statistically at homicide cases, those first 10 days are so incredibly important in finding a suspect. They determine almost 9 out of 10 times, I believe it was, if you find a suspect. So that's not very encouraging to hear, that they want to cast this wide net of suspects now, and people we know have no involvement.
Okay, so it didn't say it there. There's a longer form of that interview. Whoops.
He is probing the night that Trump aides and some.
Okay, so there's a longer form of that interview where, again, she talks about the Ring camera footage. So I'm sorry that was not it. I thought I was going to find it, but I'm trying to search here behind the scenes and I'm getting a little dizzy. So I will find it for you. It'll be in one of the upcoming videos. But I do believe, there is mentioning, the point is there is mentioning of, mostly by Olivia Goncalves, of various vantage points of, things that she knew happened because she saw the camera footage. And they're very specific regarding Kaylee's activities on that, in those questionable hours, right? Like right before the murders. So, so that is, it makes you, in my opinion, it makes me believe that there has to be footage that they have access to out there. And I'm talking about investigators, that is going to show a lot more than what we are aware of at this time. So, and Richie 7G says, not sure why the height has become a big thing. I think it's because people are running out of big things to make a big deal about that aren't legitimate, because channels like this one are calling out the facts. I'm proud to say. And he might be taller. And let's see. Five Ginger says, Bryan looks as tall as my husband, and he's almost 6'2". And that very well might be. I think he looks, compared to other people he's standing with, he is almost always the tallest person there. He very well might be taller than 6 foot, but Dylan Mortensen's estimate of him being 5'10" to 6 foot, and just seeing him for a moment, we all know what witness statements are like, very inaccurate statistically across the board. And again, he may have registered his height on his identifying information on his license at a certain point, then not updated it. We don't know. There's a lot of variables in there. And Just Larry says to Richie, I agree. I'm horrible with height. If someone asked me how tall someone is, I'd have no clue. Yeah. Be careful when you're talking about a weight. Don't ever estimate a woman's weight if you're going to think you're going to overestimate it. And a lot of people ask the question, like Gerard, and welcome. Gerard asks, was he the lone killer? That is a question that a lot of people are asking now. And sometimes I hear for legitimate reasons. Let's see. Hi, Mary Set. How are you doing? Let's see. Yeah, because of the description Dylan gave. That's right. Yep. And she saw him in the dark. That's all correct, guys. So, all right. Well, I think I'm going to wrap up tonight. I have to work in the morning. I'm back on duty for working with some students who are at summer school. So, I'm gonna wrap this up. But thank you guys so much for being here. I really appreciate it. Thank you for being respectful in chat. And I'm sorry for those of you who were identifying things as getting a little out of hand. I know that the moderators took care of things. Sometimes it's really hard to make that call if you want to time someone out or leave them in the chat. They know that my wishes are to allow people to say whatever it is they feel they need to say or want to say to foster a healthy discussion towards justice in this case and towards peace for the families. And sometimes, things get a little out of line because people are passionate, and I certainly hope nobody was offended, but, we try to be respectful of all. Definitely here on this channel and in this chat. And hey, Anaphlexis, thank you for being here, honey. I saw you a little while ago and I didn't get to say hi. Same with you, Rosie. Thank you very much, Jamie. I appreciate it. So thank you guys all so much for being here. Everyone, please be safe. Look for the video I'm going to be putting out about the FBI CAS technology and methodology. And I'm also going to be putting out a video noting all of those points where somebody in one of the families referenced the security camera footage where they could see more specific things, just so we can have an idea of what might be up and coming.
This is Kelly from Watch the Obsession. Thanks for taking time to watch this video.
There are more answers than you know.
I'd like to take a moment to thank all of the channel members. I appreciate you guys so much. If you'd like to become a channel member, the link is below. And to everyone in the live chat tonight or watching the replay, thank you so much for your support.
Each had multiple stab wounds. Some had defensive wounds, showing they fought with the attacker. And there was no sexual assault. County Coroner Kathy Mabbutt is describing the murders as personal.